G'day folks, this is Raymond Foster. Hope you're doing great. This discussion, this conversation, the education of folks in regards to this understanding, this topic, has been going on for the past couple of weeks. Now, we'll just address Sarah's statement here. And it's been with this individual, Sarah, her followers, and an individual who has a tag on Twitter. I think it's European Revolution or something. A bit edgy and larpy like that. But anyway, he thinks he's cool. Sarah has to say here, open quote, "White erasure is because of the inherent hatred our enemies have for us." Correct. White erasure originates from and is maintained by the beliefs and actions of anti-white. Every anti-white. You don't need, to add on any description here, like anti-white politicians or academics or active. It's just anti-whites. So, correct. We are not to blame for their actions. Incorrect. Why? Okay? You are personally responsible if you legitimize their actions by accepting or rejecting terms or concepts like the R word, which come from and only exist within their narrative, which then in turn gives them all their power to enforce white erasure. Simple stuff. So, let's break this down. Okay, so even very low IQ folk can understand what is being expressed here. Alright? There's a thing called Western kind or white people. Right? Western kind and white people being harmed, attacked, our civilization being destroyed, okay, our folk being killed off, even etc. Okay? Which is happening in some places around the world, like South Africa. This is called white erasure. The erasure of white people. Erasing white people. Erasing Western kind and our civilizations. Everywhere on the planet. Right? Everywhere in the world. So that's white erasure. Okay? It's enforced by anti-whites. What's an anti-white? A person who has anti-white ideas, anti-white concepts, lives within the anti-white narrative. Right? That's an anti-white. So a person who's living or coming from within the anti-white narrative and expressing anti-white meme pathogens. Concepts like the R word. Alright? As if they're legitimate. Alright? That means you're an anti-white. You don't have to have a conscious hate or an intention to harm white people to be anti-white. You can be unconsciously anti-white. You can think you're white positive, like Sarah, and still be anti-white. Okay? Because what is anti-white? Anti-white means you come from and you live within the narrative. You use concepts and words, like the R word, which then leads to the structure, right, of the anti-white narrative, the foundation of it, the basis on which it sits, which then enforces all white erasure. Every single part of white erasure. What some would call the ethnic cleansing of our people and complete destruction of our culture and ways. Every single part of it, Sarah, it's only, okay, only able to exist because of anti-whites and anti-whiteism. And again, what's that? People who use and hold and accept and legitimize concepts like the R word. That's what an anti-white is. Somebody who promotes anti-whiteism, the anti-white narrative. Alright, somebody who accepts or rejects or legitimizes, speaks to things like the concept like racism, the R word, as if it's a real thing in the real world. Most people unconsciously do that. Most people have been raised to think that racism is a real thing. Most people are taught in school their entire lives. They see on the TV shows, etc., people talking about racism as if it's a real thing. So most people unconsciously think it's a real thing. And then that's how white erasure happens. That's it. So, white erasure, okay, so let's break this down again. So if you're really low IQ and you can't understand what I just said, if that doesn't make perfect sense to you, alright? If it doesn't click in your brain, it doesn't make fucking perfect sense, you're too dumb. You're just too dumb to fucking understand basic shit adults understand, alright? Sorry, you're too fucking dumb. Because children understand what I just said. So you're just too fucking low IQ, too dumb. So let's break it down. White erasure is a fire. Can you understand what fire is? Fire hurt, fire hot, fire burn, ow. Don't touch fire, ow. Fire bad. Alright? Big rage and fire. It's gonna hurt you, it's gonna burn you. Not good. Painful. Okay? Don't care how fucking low IQ, how dumb you are. You can understand, because if you don't, just put your hand on a fucking hot plate, cunt, or in the fire. Simple. You know, ow, fire bad, ow. Alright? Now, if you accept or reject, alright, so say somebody calls you a racist. If you say, oh no, I'm not, you've accepted through rejection of the term. You've made it legitimate. You're saying, I'm not that thing that I'm accepting as a real thing in the real world. But I'm not it. So boom, you've just said it's a real thing in the real world. That's fuel, okay, using concepts from the anti-white narrative is fuel on fire. Fire bad, fire burn, ow. So if you say, oh no, I'm not a racist, that's fuel, that's more white erasure, the fire gets bigger. Yeah. And in the same way, if you say, ha, yeah, I am a racist, ha, you just did the exact same thing. You legitimized the concept. You just treat it as if it's a real thing in the real world. That's fuel on the fire. Fire bad, fire burn, fire get bigger. Ow, bad. So you don't laugh at the term. You don't laugh and say, haha, yeah, I am a racist. And you don't fight it and say, oh no, I'm not. Because both of those are fuel that makes the fire bigger, so you get more burnt. It's bad. So you don't put fuel on the fire that fucks you up. You just hold onto the fuel, or you put the cunt down on the ground and you don't keep pouring it on the fire and making it worse. You're that low intelligence, that retarded. If you can't understand, you put fuel on the fire, it burns more. It makes the fire bigger. Yeah? Okay? And so if you, again, what is the fuel? The fuel is if you accept or reject any concept which only exists as an axiom, a premise within the narrative of anti-whiteism. So again, to make that simple, what is the fuel? If you laugh at somebody saying, or the concept racism, if you laugh at it and say, ha, yeah, I don't give a fuck, bro, I'll be racist. Or if you laugh and say, ha, nah, I'm not, bro, you can think what you want. Either of those is the fuel that makes the fire, which is the harm of white people, worse. So that makes you personally responsible, because you are the one putting the fuel in the fire. So when the fire gets bigger, who's responsible? The person that put the fuel in the fire. Exactly, yes. Really simple. Again, if you don't understand everything I've said, it doesn't make perfect sense, you're just really fucking dumb. Because I know little children who understand what I'm saying. Because it's so simple. So sorry, Sarah, and European Revolution and all your followers on Twitter and whatnot. You're just all wrong. You're too low IQ, and that just exposed it all. That explains the entire situation. And there's no more questions. It's simple stuff. You can keep going on and on and on, denying or arguing or trying to say I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. But guess what? Fuel on fire make fire big. That's what I'm saying. All right. Take it easy. Catch us next time, folks.